Today I'm going to be inspecting and most likely repacking the grease on my right front bearing inside the hub. When I was driving, I noticed kind of a squeaking or a wobbling, and go like this. The steering wheel's turning a little bit, but then go like this, and I definitely hear a little bit of a difference. Here we go. And as I rock the tire back and forth, you hear that clicking. Yeah, you can see it's in the actual wheel bearing hub. It's not in the actual bushings or other connecting pieces here. So I'm going to repack the bearings and see if that works, drive it around. And if it needs more work, then I'm going to replace bearings, maybe replace the hub. Lower the tire back on the ground. Missing the wheel lugs. Raise the tire back up. Tire's off, and I've got 3 different methods to hold the car up just in case, because I'm going to be working on there and want to make sure it's nice and stable. Just going to use some PD blaster on some areas that might be difficult. Wear gloves and eye protection just to help reduce any, because it might be difficult to take it off. Yeah, the spray is coming out very fast, so definitely wear goggles. This is the pinpoint spray, not the wide sprays. Got an H6 Allen hooked up to just a here. There we go. Kind of hold this in place. Just using the end of this H6 attachment. It's working fast enough. There we go. That's not good. Definitely see there's way too much play in there. So, see, sounds like there's grease in there. But at least I can repack it and see if this stops without having to test drive it or button it up. I was working on this for a while. The pliers I had just didn't work to pull off the C-clip. They just slip right off. So what I ended up doing is use the vice grips. This is a little ridiculous. But there we go. Make it nice and clean and tidy so I know where things are and try to kind of place in order that I removed it so it's easy to put back together. Took a little wiggling, but got some good traction on these to get it to where I can get over this piece here. Yeah, kind of good stuff. There we go. And this one just comes off nice and easy. Yep, and then this one comes off after that. Looks like these tabs go into there. Take off the 2 Phillips screws. For this washer I had to shimmy it a little bit, but just 2 Allen screws on the end were able to get these 2 end pieces and able to come off. There we go. Oh, that was fairly easy to release, so it's not tight. Now I'm going to check something here. So I know now that this is shaky. I wonder if I just tighten this up more, is that related? That's pretty much no. The answer is no. Just want to check. Now I'm going to start to, I want to make sure if I had to torque anything here, I could just put the wheel back on, but if I take these pieces off, I wouldn't be able to do it. And all of this to this point is able to access with the wheel still on. So I wasn't quite sure of this, but now it looks like I'm to a point where I'm going to have to start taking more off. Breaking the rear caliper with the 19mm and my, oh, there we go, 24-inch breaker bar. There we go, just enough distance. 20-inch torque wrench with a ratchet that should give me a little bit more flexibility. There we go. Rest by hand. Yeah, I really like pre-spraying the bolts with some PD blaster, or I'm going to release the top of the brake. Get a little more access to the brake pads. There we go. Braking power there left. Now let's see if I can take this off gently. I was planning to rotate this over. I'm going to just go ahead and take the off. And you can always use brake cleaner before to clean up the area if you want. It's outside, the wind's at my back. I'm going to spray it with brake cleaner to reduce dust. That's always a good idea. There we go. Okay. Just have it tucked in right there for right now, so I won't have to undo any of the brake lines. So here, get the bearing off. At this point, I'm not sure if this has to come up. This is probably a better way to do this, to get these bolts out from the hub assembly from the actual brake. I put 2 lug nuts back in. If I hold this here, I already did the other one. There we go. It releases. There we go. Yeah, put in the comments if you know if there's a better way to do this. I mean, this is working, which is good. There we go. I'll get these out. There we go. Let's see if I can remove the 2. There we go. Might not been much of a reason to remove these. I mean, if I'm replacing the hub, then yes. But if I'm just doing the bearings. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. Okay, I guess they kind of. I probably could have pulled that off without removing the disc. Set this down on a nice clean towel. Yeah, I'm gonna clean these up, take a closer look. It looks like there's some wear in this piece here. And if it's wear, can it be sanded and then new bushing and new bearings and new grease, or is the part so thin that the only way to make it work right is to get a new part? And I was wrong about something earlier. This is just the 4-wheel drive system. This isn't what makes the tire go straight. So this is disconnected until the 4-wheel drive kicks in. Then it hooks up and it should be fine. I'm not driving very fast when I'm in 4-wheel drive. Sprayed these screws with PV Blaster, and there's a 10mm on the end, so I don't want to mess with the Phillips. It's not really on there that hard, but I don't want to strip these out for no reason. I'm just going to see what's underneath this cover. I just don't know. Oh, that makes sense. It's the whole cover. Okay. The brake disc cover. Easier inside. Oh, okay. And that goes there. Oh, wow, cool. Okay. So this looks like it's the seal. Right now I'm just trying to get the rear bearing off, clean it up and inspect it. Going around with the screwdriver, coming up a little bit. This is working pretty good. I've got one of these tools with a vice grip just for removing interior panels. I don't think it'll hurt the gasket too much. There we go. Yes, got it. Nice. So here's where I'm at right now. I've cleaned up the hub. The 2 bearings, they do say Japan, so they're probably original. The interesting thing is the shaft, right here it's pretty smooth, but then it's like there's burn marks to where maybe the bearing was hitting and rubbing at these spots. So I'm not sure if this is just cosmetic or if that's actually lower. That's what I'm going to look at next. So on the outer bearing, the inside looks a little worn, but here it's easy to see how much wear there is. Pushing, I removed a lot of grease and cleaned it up. The bearing is still packed with grease, but moving it back and forth, there's not any, I mean, maybe moving a little bit, but it feels like it's a pretty tight fit, as far as I can tell. If I go to the outside bearing, it doesn't feel like there's play. It feels like the bearings to the actual sleeve are a clean fit. Interesting. As I rotate, it spins pretty much just as easily on the actual shaft as it does in the bearings, and if I push forward, then it starts to lock down a little bit, but there's definitely not a tight connection there. Where on the outside bearing, as I push it down, it doesn't slip at all, and the screw attachment holds down. I can definitely see this creating some play, and of course the actual bearings could be worn out. The sleeves on the hub could be worn out too. So it's behaving just like it did with the tire on. If I press here to make sure these are pressed, if it's not, then it's not in all the way. So I press here, a little bit of clicking, but it feels just like there was when there was a tire, a lot more torque. Yeah, definitely feel exactly what I felt with the tire. So, and I did check, it is actually this hub, it's not this frame. If you can see, the control arms and everything aren't moving at all. It's just this. Got to figure out, is there that much play in this part right here? And even though this is a screw-on to hold this in place, which theoretically, if it's pressurized, it wouldn't move, or if that's just a worn-out shaft. I'm going to try to knock out the sleeves, see if it's a pretty easy tap out, or if it's really in there. Actually, I have a better idea. I'll bring this whole part in. Clean it up nice before I grease it up. Starting to make some headway on this race. This is working a little bit better, more of just a bar with a hammer angled in. It gets better on my piece also. There we go. And it's out. Not so bad, just probably Need a little bit more practice on the right tool to use. Go to this side. This was touching the ground. Probably I used it on a towel, but the back end looked like it was getting a little worn out from being on cement. So there we go. You can see it's just a little bit of wear on there, so I'm just gonna clean that up. It's fine. Use more layers of, or on wood or something else than just one layer of cloth on pavement. Putting a tiny bit of grease on the inside. Don't want too much, just so the race can slide on. Got my rental race setting tool. It's aluminum compared to hardened steel, so it does not affect the surface. Applied a thin layer of grease on both surfaces, so it's going nicely now that it's hit the grease layer. Let's see. Is it already done? It looks like it is. It's totally set in. There we go. Rotate it back and forth a little bit, make sure it's... Pieces of aluminum are coming off, so I'll make sure I really clean this before I... Nice. The bearings I got are national bearings. I just went to O'Reilly's because it's close and I'm trying to get finished. And you can tell that this is way tighter. Probably gonna put some grease on there to make sure it fits. So the race was worn out. I could see it comparing side by side. On the inside it's kind of worn, and where the new one's just clean. I couldn't tell that it was much thicker. Obviously it is thicker because it's not worn out. And I couldn't tell that the bearings were super bad, but again there was wear marks and discoloration from heat. Definitely good that I'm putting new bearings in. Time to repack some bearings. Done this before with my trailer. There we go, kind of see it squeezing out the other end. I was thinking about getting a grease gun, but it's just two bearings. This isn't so bad. And there it goes. Oh, so much tighter of a fit. This is nice. Grease in there. I want to get a better angle of how tight of a fit this is. It's not wiggling at all and it's staying put, where before it's just all over the place. So I didn't realize how bad that was, and just the tiniest bit of play is enough to really mess with this bearing. So I'm going to put the seal back on, or very greasy seal for the back. This will probably work a lot better to set this seal. That was good. Let's clean that out. As I reassemble this back plate, I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on here. Just helps prevent rust on these parts. This may have not been necessary to take off. I was just kind of curious what was underneath. Blue thread locker, a little bit on these screws. Kind of tighten these on, make sure they're good. Torquing these down to 50 foot-pounds. Hub to rotor bolts. Grease up the shaft a little bit. It was a tight fit with the bearing pre-testing. Well, no reason to overcomplicate it. I just kind of tapped it around here real lightly, shimmied it on, and it's all the way. Nice. I'm gonna pack the outside bearing. Just slowly press in. I'm gonna work on, rather than going around, I'm gonna work on one area at a time, and then as I see it squishing out the other end, I can move to another side. There we go. See it squishing out right there. Let's go to the side. There we go. It's fully packed on this side. And just rub the grease around and make sure it's everywhere. It's ready to go in. So I have the bearing in. Just a little bit. Just go with a hammer here. Don't want to dent the metal, so I'm going really light. There we go. That might be on there enough. Put it on. So I was not able to find a torque adapter, but you're supposed to torque this on 50 to 80 foot-pounds and then put it back off and do about 13 foot-pounds. Making sure the bearings are set appropriately, but right now it doesn't seem like there's much of any resistance. It's not tight at all, so this outside bearing. And rather than a screwdriver, I'm going to try to use an Allen wrench because it's a much better fit. So let's see if this works. That doesn't work much better. Easier system. What if I... Huh, that kind of works. Yeah, that's kind of working. End of a wrench that's greased. This seems to be putting less torque on the threads. It's pretty tight, so... Okay, that's good. This is tight. It spins freely to really make sure... Oh, yeah, make sure I don't do that. Okay, make sure I don't do that. Again, degrease this. And there's no play whatsoever. That thing is solid. There's no clicking or anything. Nice, well, I'm gonna keep at it. So I've been tightening it, and this actually was able to work better like that, but I'm noticing now it stops real quick. So now this is too tight. Now it looks like this is, there we go. So this at this point, so I was able to torque it down, and now this is just no torque at all. So I can just go a little bit more, and let's confirm that when this is not tight at all, there we go, it spins nice and easy. And this just, since it's already been torqued down, sure. There we go. I'll just go a little bit further. There we go, that should be good. And just to confirm, let's go back and forth a few times because it's the first time doing this. To go back to where it was, and I've got to where I like it. It's tight, and it spins, but it's not loose. Okay, got the Phillips screws it in. We got the next piece on top, all greased up. Next one going in the opposite direction to lock it up. There we go. The washer here. It's in place. This one I have to get around. There we go. Get all the way around the teeth. I have to kind of wiggle this in. Grease it up, and this will probably need the tools again. If I'm doing any more of these, I'm gonna definitely get the right plier for this, but I use the vice grip on one end, and then I'm able to kind of fit it over here. And this is working, but I'd probably just get the right tool. I have plans to do more of these bearings. I'm able to do with a, looks like, there we go. It's back on. Nice, all locked in. Good. I repacked the automatic with more grease. There we go. Putting the bolts back in, I'm going to use blue Loctite. It says 18 to 25, so I'm going to do 20 foot-pounds of torque on these guys. There we go. Torquing it down. I got all of them, I believe. I'm going to clean this up with a brake cleaner before I put the pads on. I don't think I got much grease on the actual pads. So caliper to knuckle bolts, it says 53 to 72, so I have it at 60 foot-pounds. Nice. I'm going to slide the brake caliper on, caliper bolt back in. And this is 16 to 23, so I'm going to just do this at 20 foot-pounds. For today, I'm just going to torque it on with a regular. There we go. That's on there. Got the tire on, putting on the lug nuts. It's pretty fast. I'll just use this to. Got these hand tight. Well, that's my steering wheel moving. Yeah, no more clicking. Nice. Lowered it to just where the tire is touching. I have a 21 and gonna go 100 foot-pounds. Pathfinder around the block. I will have to do more maintenance. Definitely it didn't fix the problem I was thinking of. It did drive more straight, and I think I'm going to replace the wheel bearing for the other side. I lifted the other side and it looks like it had a very similar clicking. And I took a closer look at these tires and both had very uneven wear. So even though there's something else going wrong with my Pathfinder that's making the noises, it's really good that I switched to wheel bearing. And I think excluding just supplies, I think it was around $50 for the two wheel bearing at the time. So not an expensive repair, and definitely worth it to get the wheels working well and getting the tires going straight. So I'll probably replace the other one before I do the other wheel bearing. I'm going to fix what's actually making the squeaky noise first. But yeah, if you like this video, or if you want me to do another video of the other wheel bearing, let me know. Comments are great. Like, subscribe, and share. Cool. Have a good day.